Welcome back to 7 Moons Astrology. I'm Sarah Kirby, and today we are talking about the beautiful new moon in Pisces coming up on March 2nd. This is a fantastic energy, but of course, every energy has its two sides, and so we are going to pull up the chart here and talk about everything that I see going on in and around this new moon so that you can make the most of this energy moving forward. So pulling the chart up on the screen here, we've got the moon and the sun at 12 degrees Pisces. This is a new moon when the sun and the moon are together like this in the sky. And when the moon is in Pisces, we are feeling dreamy and imaginative, restful, and deeply connected to our intuition. Pisces is the sign of what lies just beyond the veil. And so there's a deep intuitive sense of what other people are feeling. It's a sense of the collective energy. Sometimes it's indistinguishable to us. The empathy is so strong at this time that we can't even necessarily separate self from other. It's a oneness energy that's unified with a deepened sense of compassion. So overall, I really like this energy for feeling much more connected to the world and to the earth and to all people and understanding our innate oneness with each other. That's what Pisces is all about. It's a very creative energy and very dreamy and imaginative. So around this time, each of us is going to be embarking on a new beginning or a next step in a journey that we've been taking. And we're sort of dreaming and envisioning what we want it to look like. And it's very idealistic. We can be up in our heads, up in the clouds, imagining and sort of creating and manifesting these fantasy scenarios of how our life could play out. What's most noteworthy about this moon to me is the fact that it's happening within 2 degrees of Jupiter here. So Jupiter's at 14 degrees in the sign of Pisces. Jupiter is also a really beneficial energy for this new moon because it's actually at home in the sign of Pisces. Jupiter rules Pisces in traditional astrology along with Sagittarius. So its energy works very clearly here to expand our horizons and to open us up to other perspectives and to new ideas. It's an expansive, kind of growth-oriented energy that has us hopeful and looking forward to the future and what we can create. So we're really, what it does is it magnifies and intensifies that energy of the new moon in Pisces. So I would expect around this time to be feeling very deeply. And I don't think that this will feel too much like the full moon in Cancer that we had, which was feeling very deeply, but there was a lot of interaction with Pluto. And so it's maybe feeling deeply some challenging emotions. This to me doesn't feel quite like this. To me, this feels hopeful and creative and imaginative and very positive overall, especially because this new moon configuration is making a trine to Uranus in Taurus. And so all of us have been dealing the entirety of 2021 with challenges and problems that it feels like we just can't create what we've been trying to create. And we've been running up against sticking points, and sometimes we just become explosively rebellious and change everything at once, only to find that we've gone a little too crazy and need to go back and clean up and redo, and what we thought we wanted isn't what we actually wanted. And so all of that stuff has been going on in 2021. And then we get here, and now all planets are direct this month, and the Saturn-Uranus square is breaking up. So a trine to this energy here feels like really good momentum. To me, it feels like something has noticeably changed. Something is different now in a positive way. The situation in the environment has transformed in a way that feels more like what we wanted it to. It feels more authentic and aligned. And we're beginning to awaken to a deeper sense of what that could mean for us going forward, right? The momentum is building. And so we're getting really imaginative, right? That's what the energy is. And we can almost kind of fantasize and be fantasizing about everything that we're going to do. And with Uranus here, it could mean like, all the people that I'm going to connect with and the type of influence that I'm going to have, or this free and independent life that I'm going to create for myself, or the way that I'm going to innovate on these old ways of doing things and the kind of completely uninhibited lifestyle that I'm creating for myself. And we dream up this idealistic fantastical energy in our heads. And so you can be caught up around this time just kind of daydreaming. But there's something new here that we're embarking on, because fundamentally that's what a new moon is. So we're beginning a chapter, or we're turning the next chapter in a long story that we have been working on. And we've also got some other important interactions that tells me that this energy and what we're creating around this time, it really feels fated for us, and it really feels destined. Maybe the rational and logical part of our brain can acknowledge that what we are dreaming for ourselves might be a little bit unrealistic, right? And maybe we understand that it's perhaps not the most practical thing to be in the world, or we understand that this is not the normal path to go, and that maybe some more pessimistic types might say that we are just wishful thinking, right? And who are we to think that we can create this, that, or the other thing? But at the deepest core, we really understand that whatever we're placing our hopes and our hearts on at this time feels like really aligned and destined, and very much so a part of why we're alive. It feels purposeful for us. It feels very true. And the reason for that is because at the same time that we have this new moon in Pisces, we've also got Venus and Mars and Pluto in a conjunction in Capricorn, trining the North Node in Taurus. And so the North Node is one of the markers of the eclipses. These are the destiny points in the chart. They tell us about what this incarnation is meant to be, and they help steer our life path in a way that keeps us on plan accordingly with that life path. And so a trine to this energy among Venus and Mars and Pluto really feels like we are magnetic and aligned, and we're on the money for exactly what it is that we're trying to get or create. And we know the truth of the matter, and it feels purposeful, and it's something that we desire very deeply for our lives. Venus is the planet of relationships and harmony and beauty. It's about money and connection and financial worth and abundance and our value systems. It's the feminine aspect in astrology, and it is associated with Taurus and Libra. So that's an earth sign and an air sign. Mars, on the other hand, is the masculine counterpart in astrology, and it's connected with Aries, action, willpower, that's fire sign energy, and Scorpio, which is about our deepest, truest emotions. This is water sign energy. So the two planets come together to create deep alchemy. It's fire, it's earth, it's water, and it's air, and it's masculine and feminine polarity all together wrapped in one. Conjunct Pluto at 27 degrees. This is supercharged power, but it could also be a little bit obsessive, right? So, we're in our heads creating some fantastical world for ourselves and what our life plan is going to be. And you really can create it. I'm not here to tell you that you can't create your ideal scenario, because this could be one of the times where that's more likely energetically than at other times in history, and that's because of the way that Jupiter and Neptune are building to a conjunction through the middle of April now. And so Jupiter and Neptune only come in conjunction every 12 years or so, and it's actually really noteworthy this time because they are going to conjunct in their home sign of Pisces, which hasn't happened since 1856. So if anybody was going to create their ideal scenario, now would be the time where you can really set those intentions around this new moon to create something truly beautiful. Okay, but words of caution, right? Because every energy has two sides. So what do you have to look out for here with this new moon energy that's going to inform the better part of the month of March? Well, first of all, Pisces energy has a tendency to keep its feet completely, totally off the ground, swimming in a never-ending ocean of their own thoughts, ideals, fantasies, and emotions. And so it can be a little bit challenging to be realistic about things. You could spend so much time dreaming and take no action. You could be up in your head fantasizing to the point that you are unwilling to acknowledge some of the more challenging aspects of what could be going on around you. And that's where we can tend to see things in an unrealistic way, maybe with rose-colored glasses, right? And then come to find later on that there were all these flags that we just choose to ignore when we are feeling our most compassionate and connected to God and spiritual energy, right? And wouldn't it be nice if we could stay in that place all the time? And that's the goal, but there are other elements here that I think have to be watched out for, and that's the tendency to want to just escape, right? We escape to our fantasies, we escape to our dreams, these worlds that we create in our head, and we also escape with compulsive and obsessive tendencies, and drugs, and hallucinations, and psychedelics, and all kinds of things that people have increasing interest in around this time. Okay, sorry, I had to change my battery. What I was saying is that there can be a tendency to be a bit recklessly obsessive or compulsive around this time, because that's another element of Pluto in particular, which is involved in the energy here, and also Pisces' tendency to want to escape to other realms. So all of us have a self-sabotaging pattern, right? And some people it's food, some people it's drugs, some people it's alcohol, some people it's always daydreaming and never taking any action, right? Some people it's negative thought patterns and criticism and judgment of other people. Sometimes it's a self-righteous attitude. Sometimes it's laziness and an overindulgence and just wanting to lay around all the time, right? All of us have some self-sabotaging habit. And when Jupiter is involved at this new moon, is just going to expand on all those Piscean themes, right? And so all of those things, you have to keep a curb on them, because if you are escaping to some other fantastical reality, you're never going to create it here in the real world, right? So we've got trines between Mars and Venus and Pluto and the North Node. And we've also got this new moon making the sextile to Uranus and Taurus. So Taurus and Capricorn here, those are earth sign energies that can really help us to keep our feet on the ground during this time. So overall, I really like this energy, and I think it's really positive, and I think we're going to strike the right balance between imagining and creating in our heads and in our hearts and translating it into real world action around this time. So really the only word of caution I have with this energy is just be mindful and watch for the ways in which you escape in an unhelpful way and the ways that you tend to self-sabotage. And then this energy will be golden, right? Because it's very, very beautiful. We've also got Saturn and Mercury coming up in a conjunction here. They're within 1 degree. And so I think that mental fortitude that attributes is going to help us stay a little bit grounded as well too, because Mercury is how we think and communicate, and Saturn is how we create structure and discipline in our lives. And so it seems that we're going to arrive at a point here where we've got the openness to remember our connection to everyone, and the structure and discipline that we need to remember who we are and the ways in which we need to keep ourselves on track through loving discipline rather than avoidant escapism, so that we can actually tangibly create and achieve the things that we want to in the long term. And that's what we'll be dreaming about right now. We're seeing that far off distant vision, and we're going to find a way by the full moon in Virgo to put it into grounded practical reality. So I love this energy overall. I think it's extremely positive ultimately here. One of the nicest new moons that we've had in a long time. In a couple days, I will actually be releasing a 12 sign forecast for this energy on my channel. So if you're not subscribed now, give me a subscribe, and then I'll see you in a couple days with the 12 sign energy forecast for this new moon in Pisces. If you like this video, give it a like. I'll see you in the next one with energy. Sarah.